What foreigners really think about the UK. What do people from around the world really think about the United Kingdom? For many, the UK conjures iconic images: afternoon tea, double-decker buses, the royal family, cobblestone streets, and, of course, unpredictable weather. But beyond those familiar clichés lies a far more layered reality, one shaped by people who have actually lived, studied, worked, or travelled in Britain. This video explores what foreigners really think about the UK, not through stereotypes, but through real-life impressions. From the country's culture and customs to healthcare, humour, and public services, we'll uncover the honest, respectful, and occasionally surprising opinions that visitors and residents from abroad have about the United Kingdom. 1. The British are incredibly polite, but it can feel distant. One of the first things most foreigners notice about the UK is the extraordinary level of politeness. Whether it's saying sorry when someone else bumps into you, or queuing patiently even when no one is watching, British manners stand out. Foreigners living in the UK often say they admire how respectful and orderly everyday interactions are. The constant use of please, thank you, and excuse me sets a tone of courtesy, even in busy cities like London or Manchester. However, there's a catch. Some foreigners say that while Brits are polite, they can also seem emotionally distant. Visitors from more outgoing or expressive cultures, such as Southern Europe, Africa, or Latin America, may feel that British people are friendly, but not always warm. Casual conversation is common, especially about safe topics like the weather or weekend plans. But forming deep friendships can take longer than expected. That said, once trust is built, foreigners often find their British friends to be incredibly loyal, thoughtful, and sincere. 2. The UK's beauty is undeniable, but so is the weather. When people first arrive in the UK, they're often stunned by how beautiful it is. The country boasts an incredible variety of scenery, from the rugged peaks of the Scottish Highlands to the peaceful rolling fields of southern England. Tourists marvel at ancient castles, ivy-covered cottages, and historic town centres that look like they belong in a film. Cities like Bath, Cambridge, and Edinburgh feel like walking through a time capsule, and even modern cities like London are packed with iconic sights. But the number one comment? It's always raining, and in many parts of the UK, that's not far from the truth. The weather can be damp, chilly, and wildly inconsistent. Sunshine may show up, but it rarely stays for long. Foreigners from tropical or Mediterranean climates often say the constant drizzle and cloudy skies take some getting used to. Still, others grow fond of the misty mornings and learn to appreciate the beauty in fog-covered hills, roaring fireplaces, and an extra cup of tea on a rainy afternoon. 3. British humour is brilliant, if you can decode it. Humour is a big part of British life, and for many foreigners it's a delightful and at times confusing experience. British humour is known for being dry, ironic, and often laced with sarcasm. Poking fun at oneself is common, and understatement is practically a national sport. TV shows like Monty Python, The Office, UK, Peep Show, Fleabag, and Derry Girls have introduced international audiences to the quirks of British wit. But here's the challenge. For newcomers, especially those learning English, it can be hard to tell when someone is joking. A sarcastic comment might sound serious, and deadpan delivery can lead to misunderstandings. However, most foreigners grow to love it. British humour is rarely mean-spirited, and once people understand it, they find it clever, inclusive, and refreshingly honest. It's a shared language that reveals the British ability to laugh at themselves, even in the middle of a crisis. 4. The UK is impressively multicultural, especially in the cities. One of the strongest positive impressions foreigners have about life in the UK is its diversity. Particularly in large cities, the multiculturalism is impossible to miss. In places like London, Birmingham, Leicester and Manchester. It's normal to hear multiple languages on a single street and find shops offering food from every corner of the globe. Foreigners often say they feel welcomed and included, especially in urban settings. British cities celebrate a wide range of festivals, from Diwali to Eid, Hanukkah to Chinese New Year, and local councils often support multicultural initiatives. But there's nuance here too. While most foreigners admire the UK's cultural blend, some notice that certain communities live in silos, interacting more within their own groups than across them. Still, the UK's openness to global cultures is viewed as a strength, and many foreigners say Britain has become more inclusive with every generation. 5. British food isn't as bad as people say. In fact, it's delicious. British food often gets a bad rap abroad. Mention British cuisine to someone overseas, and they might think of soggy vegetables, overcooked meat, or beans on toast. But foreigners who actually live in or visit the UK tend to disagree. Traditional dishes like roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, fish and chips, sausage rolls, and sticky toffee pudding are usually well received. In fact, they're described as comforting, hearty, and surprisingly flavourful. More importantly, food in the UK has transformed over the past few decades. London is now home to Michelin-starred restaurants offering global fusions, and cities like Leeds, Cardiff, and Glasgow have vibrant food scenes packed with international flavours. Immigration has also reshaped the UK's culinary identity. Curries, shawarma, sushi, and jollof rice are just as common as shepherd's pie. Many foreigners say the variety of food in Britain is not only wide, but world-class. 6. Public transport is convenient, but not always reliable. Public transportation in the UK is one of the most polarising topics for foreigners. On the one hand, visitors from countries with limited infrastructure are often impressed. The UK has an extensive network of trains, buses, and metro systems. London's Underground, in particular, is admired for its history, efficiency, and coverage. You can travel between cities on high-speed trains, hop on regional buses, or take trains in places like Nottingham and Manchester. However, there are plenty of complaints too. Ticket prices, especially for trains, are considered steep. A round trip from London to Edinburgh, for example, can cost more than a budget flight across Europe. Delays, cancellations, and occasional rail strikes are also common sources of frustration. In rural areas, buses might come only a few times a day, or not at all. For many foreigners, especially those who don't drive, this lack of rural connectivity can feel isolating. Still, compared to many countries, UK public transport is seen as a valuable asset, especially in major cities. 7. The NHS is a source of national pride and foreign admiration. Few things define life in the UK more than the National Health Service. For many foreigners, especially those from countries where healthcare is expensive or privatised, the idea of free healthcare at the point of use is extraordinary. Foreigners living in the UK often express genuine admiration for the NHS. Emergency care is usually accessible, and staff are praised for their dedication and professionalism. Walk-in clinics, prescriptions capped at affordable rates, and 24/7 A&E access are seen as major benefits. Of course, the system isn't without its flaws. Long waiting times for non-emergency procedures, GP shortages in certain areas, and funding challenges are real. Some foreigners are shocked by how long it can take to get a referral or surgery. Nevertheless, most agree that the NHS represents one of the most humane and equitable approaches to public health. It's something foreigners believe more countries could learn from. 8. The UK is a country of contrasts, and that's its magic. If there's one takeaway foreigners share about the UK, it's this: it's a country of contrasts. Medieval cathedrals stand beside skyscrapers. Traditional afternoon tea coexists with international street food. A society that treasures the monarchy also debates social progress in Parliament. This ability to balance old and new is something foreigners genuinely admire. It gives the UK a personality that's hard to define, but easy to remember. Some foreigners speak of a quiet charm in British life, the simplicity of a country walk, the ritual of queuing, or the warmth of a Sunday roast. Others highlight the country's adaptability, its universities, music, innovation, and fashion scene keep Britain relevant on the global stage. The UK may not be the loudest or flashiest nation, but through foreign eyes, it's a country with depth, character, and a deep-rooted identity that evolves without losing itself. So what do foreigners really think about the UK? It's a nation of charm, contradictions, and quiet strength. While not perfect, Britain leaves a lasting impression, blending tradition with diversity, humour with humility, and modern life with historic depth. Through foreign eyes, the UK is truly one of a kind. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.